Welcome back to Bromley Wonders. Today we're at, I don't know if is it infamous? I don't know, but Star City in Nechells. It's been here since I can remember. I think it was probably launched somewhere by Millennium. We'll bring it up on the screen just to confirm. But I remember this being super brand new, and I was at the time learning the Paso Doble at dance school with my sister. I was pretty rubbish. I do remember all the people at the time discussing, oh, have you been to Star City yet? And I'm like, what is that? And yeah, it turns out it was basically a big entertainment venue. I've took lots of photos of it so far, so I've got loads of footage to throw in. But yeah, it was basically Mega Bowl, Wimpy, Burger King, don't think there was a McDonald's actually. What else did they have? Madhouse, the clothing shop. There was the cinema upstairs, which was it wasn't View at the time, it was just Warner Studios, was it? And what else was there? Big arcade, KFC, Pizza Hut, which is still there today, and I think eventually a little football-y five-a-side thing got built in the old car park. But it's still going, which is impressive. But yeah, I'm going to try and run you through what this place was, when did it change, why is it here in the first place, because there's a really cool history to it, especially as far as Nechells and Birmingham history goes. So it's well worth, I'm not going to go in, because I don't need to. I'm sure I can get some footage of what was inside. But yeah, let's run through what was here before. And with the area changing as much as it had in the last kind of 20 years, majorly, but basically we have a very ethnic minority or majority around here these days, so the use of this place has changed. The View Cinema, which changed, I'm sure it was the Warner Brothers Cinema, I can't remember, but anyway, it's the View Cinema now, and now they launch a lot of Bollywood movies here. A lot of the food courts have all changed, so I think like KFC's gone, Burger King's gone, Pizza Hut's still there, like I said earlier, but apart from that, a lot of the food in here now is your Dixie chickens, your peri-peris, a lot of halal food. Nando's, I think, survived, I'm not too sure, but yeah, it's very much Pakistani, Indian, Middle Eastern kind of clientele here. So big old change. I don't know whose all these cars are, because there's no one here. Whenever you go inside this place, it's dead. So I think it's free parking, so maybe it's just free parking for people who work in town. But it's always horrendously busy in the car park. There's also a McDonald's that is always busy, a nice little franchise job there. I try not to go too much, but that's been there for like a good 15 years now, maybe. So yeah, all changed. Looks like we've still got Tinseltown, an American burger place. Mega Bowl is now 10 pin. Mini golf, Chaiwala, not too sure on that one. A load of like Indian buffet kind of restaurants, Istanbul food, kebabs and that. But yeah, all change. This isn't a video about a tour of Star City, because I just want to talk about what's here, what was here before. Going back to 1912, this was actually a power station, Nechells power station, built originally to give us temporary extra power for the First World War. So yes, I have confirmed it was the Warner Brothers Cinema, and at the time when it was built in the Millennium, because they were trying to change the face of Birmingham with this thing, because it does look pretty wild even these days, but back then absolutely mind-blowing really, because none of this kind of cartoonish, and I remember there being like Roadrunner, and there was all kinds of cartoons and stuff knocking about, but yeah, when they opened it, it was the largest cinema in Europe with 30 screens. It has been dropped down to 25 now. I'm not too sure why or when, but the only other cinema news about this place is it actually that was it called the Blue Boy, Blue Town, Blue City, Blue Street, I don't know, but that one about black gangs. People took that film very seriously, and all around the country there was riots in the cinema. And it happened here, and West Midlands Police got a beating from all these kids. I don't think anyone got stabbed, but probably. So pretty bad. Beyond that, what's the extra uses these days of this place? Well, as you can see by the size of the car park, a lot of taxi drivers just kind of park around here and chill, as do probably people that are a little bit too old with their little bit too young girls that they've found. They buy them a Machetes and probably just get a cheeky blowy whilst in the car park. But you know, each to their own. Car park being so large is also a recognised official place to practice your donuts in your Volkswagen Golf, in your Honda Jazz, or maybe in your rear-wheel drive BMWs, anything like that. Anything goes, but plenty of room to ruin your tyres whenever you like. So I'm sure, whilst you've been looking at this building, you can kind of tell it's a little bit power station-y looking, isn't it? Now, I don't know if I can see it from this side. I'm going to have a walk around the block and film around the back, hopefully. But there is a part of this building that is part of the power station that was built more towards the 40s. I think 1944 or 48. It was closed down in like 84, I think. But part of that building is part of this building, and it's quite obvious from behind because it's so old looking compared to the rest. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Have you been here? Get in the comments and let me know. I don't know if people around the country recognise this as a landmark anymore. Certainly was back in the start of the millennium, but these days I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure how busy this place gets. I imagine it's pretty busy when it comes to Ramadan and Eid and the like. I actually have a memory of trying to go to Nando's when I was probably in year 9, and yeah, we were refused entry on the basis that we weren't celebrating Eid, which was, you know, contentious. But yeah, moving on. Over here we used to have a car forecourt. I can't remember what breed of car it was. Was it Mercedes? Was it Kia? I can't remember, but that's all closed. Everything around here is kind of falling away. Like Costco will be fine forever. And the only other useful thing that I've used myself is just to buy LPG gas, not for my taxi, but there wasn't even LPG, it was patio gas for some burners that we used to have at the brewery, and I used to buy them from there, so that was cool. But you can get LPG there, all the taxi drivers go there, and it's a very pleasant place to be. They've got a little tuck shop actually, if you pop in and you fancy a Twix. And now focusing on the power station element to this building, it makes a lot more sense with coal delivery. I mean, there was like a Great Western Rail, there was so much more train action going on around here at the time to get the coal here to burn, to create the steam, to make the electricity. But being on the canal network, that made things very easy, and there's still a little launching point, is that what they call them for canal boats? I don't think so. Dock? Whatever. But I think the best place to see the back end of this monstrosity is down here on the canal path. So we're on Cuckoo Road. You got to cross this carriageway, dual carriageway, and head into the little park. Now, this is where the Teletubbies was filmed. It wasn't. Well, it could have been. But it's actually, it's an old burial mound for... No, it wasn't really. Anyway, let's go this way. It's like magic, we're down here now, and they're on this channel quite a lot, but the Canal and River Trust boats knocking about down here as well. If you go and have a look at the Port Loop video and the kayaking around Birmingham city centre from a couple of years ago, last year, you can go and check that out. But obviously we've got a British canoeing thing here, so maybe this is becoming, or has been for a while because it looks quite old, a little point where they teach people to canoe, which is good, isn't it? But let's walk down here, which will take us behind Isabella the boat and behind the cinema bit. I think actually that's probably the loading bay and bowling, looking at where I am, but I don't know. We're not going in, I'm sorry. If you want to see the inside of Star City, come on your own, that one's on you. Some interesting old, I guess, gas lines. We got 1917 written on that. I don't think it's that old. We've got a slightly newer one. We've got another old one that looks defunct as well. But yeah, a load of old infrastructure. This looks a little bit, remember the Klondike at Drayton Manor? Looks like it belongs to the theming on that. Oh look, we have a nice little, I mean, was this a weighing station? Why does this pinch in? But there's a little home. It's not looking too clever. Jeez, I bet that was lovely once upon a time. Now defunct, but they had satellite TV at some point, so that gives you a little clue to how long ago it all went wrong. I'm going to say probably 2003. Well, let's keep going. That's a weird little pinch point, isn't it? What's that about? Right. So this is basically going to take us all the way back to the infamous Spaghetti Junction. That's built in 1972, so like that's been thrown together whilst the power station is still in action. Power station, I think it's called Nechel's B at that point. We'll go through the history a little bit of all the different power stations and iterations of power stations through the ages. There's not much to go through, but there are photos of the power station still there and Spaghetti Junction being complete, which is just jarring to look at now because it's hard to imagine. I mean, it's the 70s, it wasn't that smoggy, was it? But the air quality, I'm not pro clean air zone by any means, but I imagine it smelt a bit Fausty sometimes. But it's just steam, isn't it? It's clean. So unfortunately from this angle you can't actually see the old bit. I don't know if I'm going to walking down this canal, to be honest. So I'll find a photo online to give you a vague idea of the section. But even here you can see there's still remnants of, is this a substation now? But it's like one of those where all the power gets distributed. Distribution station? There's another major one on Tyburn Road, which I guess sorts Erdington out. But yeah, we're this close to Spaghetti. This is it coming up now. There's the M6 flying above us. Could be the A38M, but it's moving a bit too quick. So I'm going to say that's the M6. More electric bridges. Danger, danger. How many volts on that bad boy? It's the national grid. And usually there's a funky little warning telling you not to dick about on these, because it's just full of cables. So here we go, it's starting to smell a little bit like pee-pee. We've got warning, construction works overhead. We're working on the structures. Please follow the instructions from the banksman at the works. What, can I not walk through? I was riding my push bike down here not too long ago. Oh, it stinks. Good lord. But this is a cool bit to actually see, because you get to see how many different waterways and bits and bobs went on when they built this. There was a lot to tackle, and I actually found a handbook on Birmingham from about 1915 explaining all of the bits that needed doing. And I think one of the major bridge extensions at the time was Salford Bridge, which comes out of Erdington and over Lichfield Road. I think we can see it just there. There it is. I think that's it. And yeah, that was widened from like 30 foot to 80 foot at the time, but it also had to go over a canal and a river. So very impressive masonry at the time. There you go, look at all that. Crazy. And they're always working on this stuff. Always falling apart, always rusting, always leaking, so the work never ends. And this is an interesting little building. Right, so heading this way, which would go down next to Tyburn Road, which we'll be heading down shortly. Don't know what these businesses were, but this is basically R.C. Williams Spaghetti Junction. They do all the fixings, as far as I'm aware. And like, yeah, they've got a fancy iron gate up there, it's really cool. So they've been here for years and years. Can I not walk around? I know I can, it's all good. What else have we got? You can see all the old factories and bits and bobs. There's like another kind of pumping station, power station over there, which we'll see. All very dilapidated these days. And actually yesterday, right next to this building that's getting all the new stuff, that one caught fire right next door. Imagine that. So last night, absolute nightmare. There was a crash on the A38M, which was causing traffic at a standstill. There was also a fire here, which was throwing smoke everywhere, which brought traffic to a standstill. And yeah, I think it was a tyre factory that got set alight. But we'll go and see that shortly. And it's the freshest news you're going to see, because it was straight up yesterday. All this. Oh, we got Every now. Bloody hell. A new depot over there. And it's always worth mentioning just how graffiti really lights up an area, brings it to life, doesn't it? It's so vibrant, so exciting. That's a nice bit. Oh my god. So yeah, this is the mad stuff that they had to build. Obviously you've got the canal water up here travelling on a aqueduct of sorts, and you can see the buttressed wall here getting this bridge over the river. It's all very good. Every turn begging you to jump over something, but we're not going to because I can't jump. Okay. We will get back to the Star City story, maybe. Oh, I see this a lot. Ashley Bird is a nonce. That's everywhere around here. I think he cocked up. Whoops. How do we get off? So I've got to go down here and exit. Oh, yeah. I'll show you. But it'll take us under spaghetti again. We've been there before, but you know. Okay, so I'm getting the idea that Ashley Bird was a graffiti artist. Here he is again. He's a pedo. Good Lord, Ashley, what are you doing? But they call it dogging. Whenever someone draws over your artwork, just like that, you can consider your art dogged. And there was actually a spat of it going on in Digbeth about 2 years ago when there was a guy, prolific artist, you know, he's actually good and, you know, do some proper big ones for the actual Digbeth commissioned work, you know, and he was dogging his own work because people were making too much money doing tours of the graffiti, so, you know. It's beautiful. Roots of the coral, Google that. Good Lord, what a dot hole. But here we are, we're back. This is Salford Bridge, mentioned earlier. They had to go over the canal and the river, so let's have a look at that. Here'll be the riverside. It's nice. This is all just a fly tipping area, but also where I think it's Kia who currently have the site to do various infrastructure fixie jobs, such as this one. Oh, there's Natural Highways with CRL. But always changing. It just, there you go, we've got the old 40-year anniversary back in 2012. We celebrated 50 years during lockdown. It's mad. Oh yeah, this is the canal bit of the bridge, obviously. So there you go. So now we go underneath into Salford Circus, the pedestrian bit, because yeah, there's no pavements up here, and there's like 5 exits. So all you do get around here is actually the traffic light tramps who want all your money as you're trapped for 2 minutes of your life at a red light. Prolific. Wouldn't it be nice? Ashley Bird touches kids. Oh dear. Ashley Bird, pedo. God. A lot of politics. Crazy. So yeah, we're heading this way down Tyburn Road. So yeah, this used to be like used quite a lot for pedestrians. I think people avoid it these days. But my mum even has a story walking down here to get the bus to work. She used to work at the Victoria Law Courts, and just in the printing room, nothing masony, you know what I mean. But she walked down here and she had to report a guy who was like flashing. He had a big raincoat on, and whenever you walk past, he'd show you his tackle. So that's cool. I don't know if, you know, any further action, who knows. This way. This way. Okay, we got some more drama. I imagine this is police tape from yesterday, but they just leave it behind. I don't know whose job it is to collect police cordon tape, but it's not the police's job, clearly. Oh God, when did this happen? But yeah, I think this must have been taped off yesterday for the fire, which we will get to in 2 seconds, because it's a bit of a mess. Good Lord, that's a lot of tape. There you go, here's the nice ironwork for the RC Williams. Very nice, very nice. So, walking down here, we got the tarpaulin shop. So I was wrong actually, this is that new building we were looking at just. Next door wasn't the tyre place. Next door is actually TSR, the Tarpaulin Supply and Repair. And they've been going for years and years. When I bought my camper van about 15 years ago, whenever that was, my dad would always say, oh, get down to TSR. They'll sort out your awning. So, you know, I didn't, but at least they're there and we're aware of it. So it's just the next section just past here that caught fire yesterday. Massive shame. We are at the fire damage from yesterday. Whoops! Was it tyres? Office furniture to go? I don't think it was though. But it's all ogre. Don't know if we can see in. The wall's a little bit open. It's still taped off. Oh dear, and it does bloody smell. And you can see the damage to the gantries. Oh dear. So that's gone. That's as good as gone. They've currently got the what do they call them? The people who do the checks. They're there. Nope, can't remember. The surveyors. I guess they're in there. I'm sure it's not an insurance job. Absolutely not. But just down this way, it gets a little bit more industrial, old worldy, old factories, old manufactories, and that. What we got here? The engineering, TMA Engineering Limited. Specialists in power press spares, repairs, overhauls and service. I guess they're not needed anymore, such a shame. I think there's a couple of places around the Digbeth end that still make screws and parts, but it's just not the same industry that once was in the area, which is a shame. And just here, clearly some kind of power station. Could be a swimming bath. I mean, everything looked glorious back in the day, but I'm going to say power station. Maybe something to do with the general post office and the phone lines. Hard to know. No clues, no dates. Does anyone know? I'm not going to Google that one. If anyone in the comments wants to let me know what these buildings were, let me know. But they're all up for sale. How much for this, do you reckon? And they would have been nice back in the day. Obviously, they were also in the smog days, so all this white stone stuff would have looked pretty rubbish. On and off. What we got here? An old BIP. Wonder what that meant. And yeah, some new cladding on definitely an old building. The H&P metal polishers and platers, I think they're still open. Doing it for the boys. Degreasing, electro cleaning. Very good. What else? Just to remind you, we are in Birmingham today on Tyburn Road. This was a video about Star City, but it's turned into a little bit of a tour of the detritus. Now, something worth knowing is this Mirko garage. Considering there's like an Asda garage just round there by EG Group, they tend to charge quite a lot for their petrol. Now, Mirko always seems to be able to undercut them quite heavily. And let's be honest, 132 these days, well, 133 for diesel is pretty cheap. I'm going to be filling up on the way home in the Peugeot because that's an alright price. There you go, you can see a little bit more of the Star City-ish power infrastructure over there. There's a lot of it. All those kettles. Oh, we've got an old MG. Is that a midget? Shame. So yeah, can't show you much of the back of the power station, unfortunately. I mean, I'm sure you're aware of the bin strikes in Birmingham, but make no mistake, this is what it was always like. Such a shame. CJC furniture here. Oh. Now, just round here, we have one of the newest additions to the Tyburn area. It's called the Last Stop A38, which I think is true. You know, at least in Birmingham, the A38 goes all the way to Bristol. But yeah, it's like a bit of a food court. Again, very much geared towards the ethnic majority in the area, but they seem to be doing really well. It's one of your standard festoon-lighted, gated communities. No community, but you know, it's like Elephant Castle, they got something like this. There you go, but they're having a big load of groundwork done, so I think it's been spruced up. But this does fill up when they're doing it, and there's like, yeah, many cars in there, but currently you can't park in there because of the works going on. Oh, you can't even walk around here. Good lord. So we're almost back to where we started. We'll go through Jarvis Way. and then that'll be the end of today's tour. Which has been an exciting one, I'm sure you'll agree. Don't know what that place was. That looks like a rickety wall though, that's going to go. A few more high winds. But yeah, Jarvis Way, it froze me this one because it's actually the Gravelly Park Industrial Estate now. It heads straight to Star City to be cut through. It's not a thoroughfare though, you can't just use it. It is gated and secured. But yeah, the trees down here are bloody lovely. And it tells me that this was once a nice little route through to possibly the power station at the time. I'm not too sure when this all popped up or when this road existed in particular. But yeah, the trees down here is a really nice avenue, almost an arboretum. But I'll show you. Oh, no dogs. So there's good view. So this is the canal we were walking down, and that's all the power behind Star City again. So, you know, you get the idea. So heading into, I should say, worth noting just how many businesses there are here. It's pretty vibrant, and they're all in alphabetical order. Does that help with the unit numbers? Yeah, I guess it does. We've got a few vacancies. If you want one, I don't know how expensive they are. But look, Continental tyres. Whew. Right, but yeah, these are the trees I was talking about. Look how nice that is. I mean, they've all been lopped down. What do they call it? Oh, God, it's gone out of my head. Oh my God, coppiced trees. But these were all pretty massive last year. But they're still alive, so it's all good. Yeah, I'm going to wind it up. That's the end of the tour. If I can be asked, I'll throw some more information about the power station in. But if not, hope you've enjoyed it and it's opened your eyes to the beautiful sights and sounds of Nechells, a little bit of Erdington, Salford Circus, Lichfield Road a little bit of Cuckoo Bridge. And yeah, we're all learning. Quick shot of the River Tame going under the M6 just here through Gravelly Hill Estate. That's the last exciting thing that's going to happen. So thanks for joining me on a Brummie Wonders. Hope you've enjoyed it. See you in the next one, and here's to more sunshine.